Well, we're effectively almost a quarter of the way into the 2018 NFL season, and it has been exciting as hell as always, especially this last week when we had all those close overtime games and such like that. Anyways, last week I went 9-6. I mean, yeah, it's an improvement from last week, but only because of a bye week for the Panthers and Redskins, and yeah, and it is 4 win weeks in a row, which I found so far apparently is a lot better than most people so far. So I guess I should be happy. But come on, I need like a win percentage of 750 in order. I mean, 3/4 in order for it to consider a success in my eyes. This has been not a good season in that regard. And then here is the playoff stands at the season ended today. In the AFC, it's the Chiefs and Bengals with the byes, with the Jaguars at the Dolphins and the Ravens at the Titans. In the NFC, it's the Rams and Bears with the byes, with the Packers at the Saints and the Panthers at the Redskins. And if the season ended today, I say it'll be the the Rams beating the Chiefs. So now on to my week 5 predictions. So we get things started with Thursday night, as it's the Colts at the Patriots for the first time since 2012. As the Colts, oh boy, another blown loss that they blew too, even with that incredible comeback. They've been pretty competitive this year at least, you gotta say that. And the Patriots, I told you all, RELEX, you're gonna be fine after that 1-2 start, and they showed that by destroying the undefeated Dolphins. About time all the doom and gloom finally stopped too. And of course, I think the Patriots would easily get this. Then we get to Sunday action, start off with the Titans at the Bills for the first time since 2012, as the Titans, wow, after that loss, they've been pretty competitive. They're 3-1 right now. They're actually leading the AFC South thanks to that tiebreaker over the Jaguars. That was an impressive victory last week against the Eagles. And the Bills, they came right back to the earth. After destroying the Vikings 2 weeks ago, they got shut out by the Packers. So, yep, I guess that was just a one-time fluke for them to get that. And, of course, the Bills are in such deep shit right now. I guess you could say you can't underestimate them. I mean, they did beat the Vikings in Minnesota, but of course, what does that say now since the Vikings are 1-2-1? So I wouldn't underestimate the Bills if I were you, Titans, but I think the Titans will get this still. And it's the Giants at the Panthers for the first time since 2013, as the Giants pretty much got put in their place against the Saints. And of course, the Panthers were on their bye last week. We saw them beat the Bengals last time out, as they haven't played recently, so who knows what will happen yet. But, I would say, I was about to laugh off and say the Panthers will easily get this, but you can't underestimate the Giants at all. But I think the Panthers will get this. And then we get to the big matchups in the AFC, which who would have thought this would be the case, as the Dolphins are at the Bengals for the first time since 2016. Wow, who would have thought both of these teams would be on the verge of being 4-1, and even the loser, who would have thought they would be 3-2 at this point in the season? That's just incredible. As the Dolphins got put in their place by the Patriots, like I told you all, the Bengals, oh my God, they actually came back against the Falcons and they converted those 2 fourth-down drives. I was able to see that too. Holy shit, the Bengals are playing much better this year than they have the last 2 years. Watch, they'll probably eventually shit the bed and come back down to reality. But of course, they're hosting Dolphins, so I think they'll win. And also a reminder to the Dolphins offense, beware, Dirty Vontaze is coming back, and he's going to look forward to a helmet hit, going for your knees and twisting your ankles, so watch out for that nigga's antics. Oh boy. And then it's the Ravens at the Browns, as the Ravens, wow, got a pretty convincing win against the Steelers. That shows the Steelers are in deep bad trouble. And the Browns, oh man, Baker Mayfield's first start, and they still couldn't pull it off in the end, even in overtime. High score shit too. Just think the Browns could have easily been 4-0 if things just went in their favor instead of 1-2-1. The Ravens, I'm sure everyone... As a matter of fact, I'm on NFL Weekly Pick'ems right now, and people have the Ravens by 78%, but I think the Browns actually could pull it off. The Browns, historically, the last bunch of years, have gave a lot of pressure to the Ravens, so... Browns, you can't be underestimated, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens get it, but I think the Browns will get it. And then it's the Packers at the Lions, as the Packers put the Bills in their place last week, got back finally to 2-1-1, and the Lions, oh, they blew it against the Cowboys. What a blown opportunity to get back to 500 after that incredible victory against the Patriots. Now, of course, the Lions did destroy the Packers last year, but hoop doop, without Aaron Rodgers, no shit. So, with Aaron Rodgers, I think it's going to be the Packers easily. And then we get to the big showdown in the AFC as the Jaguars are at the Chiefs for the first time since 2016, as the Chiefs are trying to go 5-0 for the second year in a row. Oh my god, this is easily up there with Dolphins and Bengals as matchups for the first round bye at the line at the moment, as the Jaguars knocked off the Jets pretty effectively well, and the Chiefs, wow, what a comeback they made against the Broncos. Patrick Mahomes, after struggling in the first half, he lit up in the fourth quarter. My God, that was an incredible finish right there, as the Chiefs really do look like one of the best teams in the AFC if it wasn't for that shitty defense. And I think the Chiefs will get this one, but oh boy, I can only imagine between probably one of the best offenses against one of the best defenses, who will bend is the question. Then it's the Broncos at the Jets for the first time since 2014, as the Broncos, oh man, they put a beating on the Chiefs, and they almost pulled it off too, that comeback, but just couldn't do it. They're playing a lot better so far than they did last year, but I don't know if 2-2 is necessarily something to be praising for. Meanwhile, the Jets, like I said, that win against the Lions was more like a fluke now, as they're getting back to reality, as they gotten pretty much almost spanked these last 3 weeks. Oh boy, I think this game could go either way, but I think the Broncos can get this one. And we get to a pretty important matchup, even though record-wise it doesn't seem to be the case, as it's the Falcons at the Steelers for the first time since 2010, as, oh boy, who would have thought these two teams would struggle? First off, the Falcons, your defense is so terrible that you've allowed 2 games in a row, 2 fourth quarter leads blown just like that because you have terrible defense. You let the Bengals convert 2 4th and longs to get their touchdown. How do you do that? That is terrible. Meanwhile, the Steelers, oh my god, they can't get anything going right, especially without Le'Veon Bell. And their defense sucks too. So this game actually might be high offense. And of course, in that scenario, who do you trust more to get you yards? The Falcons or Steelers that are hobbled without Le'Veon Bell? I think it's quite obvious. I think the Falcons would get this. Then we get to the 4 p.m. game, starting with the Raiders at the Chargers, as the Raiders finally got their first win of the year, wild one against the Browns, and the Chargers barely held off the 49ers, but hey, they're 2-2, so they're right in the mix in the AFC side of the playoffs. And of course, unless it's high scoring as shit, or Phillip Rivers and the Chargers lay an egg, I think the Chargers will get this. And we get our NFC Championship rematch with the Vikings at the Eagles for the first time since 2016, as the Vikings, who would have thought they'd be 1-2-1 right now? Defense has not been playing good these last few weeks, and their offense, at least Kirk Cousins put up a show against the Rams last Thursday night, but hey, they still lost that game, so they're not in good shape whatsoever. Meanwhile, the Eagles, looks like they're starting to suffer a bit of a Super Bowl hangover, as now they're 2-2. Definitely not in as good a shape as they wanted, although we gotta admit all their games were close, so you would think they could easily be 4-0 or 0-4 too if you think about in the negative sense. And of course, I'm sure the Vikings are going to want revenge from that 38-7 shellacking they took in the NFC Championship. I think the Eagles will get this. Then it's the Cardinals at the 49ers, as the Cardinals try to avoid 0-5 for the first time since 1986, back when they were in St. Louis. As two games in a row where the Cardinals had it but just blew it against the Seahawks and Bears. Meanwhile, the 49ers, without Jimmy Garoppolo, they looked really competitive against the Chargers, so maybe they're going to be hopefully fine without Jimmy G perhaps, but of course that's one game, who knows for sure. But hey, they're at home against a struggling Cardinals team. I think the 49ers easily would get this. Then it's the Rams at the Seahawks, as the Rams try to go 5-0 for the first time since 2001, as they, oh my god, they really are putting up one of the best offenses in the league. They've scored over 30 points in all 4 of their games already. And last week, I think they put up their best one yet with 38 points against the Vikings. They are on a roll. If they keep this up, they really could maybe challenge the 2013 Broncos, although they need to get more average points and shit like that. Meanwhile, the Seahawks, 2-2, they're hanging in there. They're still getting right back in the mix, although losing Earl Thomas, that's going to suck. Really bad. Although they need to rely on Russell Wilson even more now, of course, if they can protect his ass. But of course, we all saw last year when they went up to Seattle and they absolutely destroyed them. What was it, like 41-7 or something like that? Yeah, unless the Seahawks pull off some kind of miracle or show that that was just a fluke last year, I think the Rams will easily get that. Then we get to Sunday night, a matchup I have no idea why they picked. It's our all-Texas matchup as the Cowboys are at the Texans for the first time since 2010. As the Cowboys still hanging in there, struggling though at 2-2. Meanwhile, the Texans got their first win of the season against the Colts. Hey, dual threat quarterback, Dak Prescott and Deshaun Watson, even though they both struggled so far this year, they're probably going to rely solely on defense. And although the Cowboys' defense is playing pretty good, the Texans' defense has a lot of stars on it too. So this could go either way, but I think the Texans would get this. And then we get to Monday night. Who would have thought this would actually be pretty big? As the Redskins are at the Saints for the second year in a row with their rematch from that incredible game last year. As the Redskins, on their bye week right now, are leading the NFC East. Who would have thought that would be the case? And the Saints, after their loss to start the season off, they're 3-1, so they right now are leading the NFC South, so they're getting right back into the mix that I thought they were going to be at too. As Drew Brees is trying to become the league's all-time passer this week. I can't wait to see that if that would be the case. And of course, oh boy, you better hope Alex Smith puts up an incredible performance like Kirk Cousins did last year, because if not, the Saints would easily probably get this win, which I think they will. So those are all my picks for week 4. I mean, week 5. I don't know why I keep saying week 4. I can't wait for Colts at Patriots tonight and all the other games this week. And surprisingly, I got this episode really, really quickly, like half the time as usual. That's quite amazing. Guess I just went through them quickly that time. So see you guys for week 6, and I can't wait for Colts.